What's up, Techbeast TV fans? Get ready for an absolutely epic journey into the world of heavy machinery. We're talking colossal tree felling, insane mud rescues, and machines that chew through timber like it's popcorn. You won't believe the raw power on display today, so buckle up. It's gonna be wild. All right, folks, we kick things off deep in the jungle, where this operator is facing a monster of a tree. We're talking ancient hardwood, incredibly dense and tough as nails. Armed only with a high-powered chainsaw, probably something gutsy like a style MS-880 Magnum, packing a serious punch with its 121.6 cc engine. And nerves of steel, he's meticulously making the cut. Look at that crimson sawdust fly. That specialized chain is biting deep, and you can hear the engine screaming under the immense load. Talk about pressure. One wrong move with a tree this size, leaning just so, could be catastrophic. But watch the technique. Carefully reading the lean, expertly planning the fall direction with the face cut. The whole jungle seems to be holding its breath. Then the telltale crack. There it goes. A direct hit, falling precisely where he intended. Absolutely textbook felling, a masterclass in control, but man, the raw power unleashed is just terrifying. The massive tree crashes down with unimaginable force, ending centuries of silent growth in mere heart-stopping moments. From felling giants to rescuing them, well, rescuing the trucks, hauling them. After the Titan falls, the next challenge arises immediately from the sodden, unforgiving ground itself. Check this out. This old-school logging truck, groaning under tons of valuable timber, has bitten off way more mud than it can chew. Those drive wheels are just digging deeper trenches. That thing is well and truly stuck fast. We've all had that sinking feeling, right? Maybe not quite like this, but hey, enter the hero. A burly Komatsu bulldozer, likely a D65EX model, packing around 200 horsepower and some serious low-end torque, specifically for jobs like this. They've hooked up a heavy-duty winch cable, thick as your arm and rated for immense loads. And the dozer is digging its steel tracks in, finding purchase where the truck found none. Listen to that powerful diesel engine roar as the winch takes the strain. All right, the tree is down, the truck is finally out, but what about the massive stump left behind? You can't just leave that thing there. It's a hazard and an obstacle. Clearing the site completely requires a different kind of specialized power. When you need to completely erase a tree's footprint from the landscape, you call in this specialized beast, the stump grinder. This track machine, maybe something akin to a Vermeer SC70TX boasting a robust 67 horsepower engine dedicated to this task, isn't messing around. Look at that massive heavy-duty grinding wheel studded with incredibly tough carbide teeth. It spins into a terrifying high RPM blur. Using precise hydraulic controls, the operator carefully lowers the spinning wheel onto the stump, and boom! Wood chips explode outwards in a furious shower. It methodically sweeps back and forth across the stump face, the powerful hydraulics forcing the wheel deeper, chewing through that dense, stubborn wood layer by relentless layer. There's a real hypnotic, destructive rhythm to it, just grinding the past into easily managed dust and mulch. It's incredible how efficiently this machine turns a massive, deeply rooted obstacle into nothing more than a pile of organic material, clearing the way for future planting or construction. Talk about making short work of a tough, back-breaking job. Speaking of tough jobs, simply navigating these primitive logging roads is a monumental challenge in itself, especially when they look like this soupy mess. The path ahead is a true test for both machine and driver, demanding constant attention and skill. Get a load of this TMT logging truck, a real heavy-duty workhorse, probably built tough like a tank with reinforced everything, battling its way up this absolute soup sandwich of a track. It's overloaded with freshly harvested timber, and the churned-up ground is doing everything it can to swallow it whole. Listen to that powerful engine strain under the immense load. The wheels are fighting desperately for every single inch of grip, slipping and sliding precariously in the deep ruts. One wrong move here, one loss of momentum, and you're definitely calling for that Komatsu dozer again. You can see the driver wrestling with the wheel, making constant corrections, trying to keep this multi-ton beast moving forward against the incline and the muck. This isn't your leisurely Sunday drive, folks. This is a high-stakes, low-speed battle against gravity and goo, testing the absolute limits of both the machine's powertrain and the driver's skill and nerve. Will it make it to the top without bogging down? Come on, big guy, you can do it. The truck roars, wheels spinning furiously, but slowly, tenaciously, it claws its way upward. Now let's shift gears and see logging performed on a whole different level of speed and engineered efficiency. We're about to witness a purpose-built machine designed for maximum productivity in harvesting operations. Meet the John Deere 843 K-Feller Buncher, the lean, green tree cutting machine. This thing operates like the highly efficient surgeon of the forest. If the surgeon wielded a giant, high-speed cutting saw and a powerful grapple instead of a scalpel. Watch how it moves through the woods on those rugged, heavy-duty wheels, surprisingly nimble and quick for its considerable size. The operator uses that sophisticated, articulated cutting head to reach out, firmly grasp a mature tree, and zip. The high-speed saw cuts it cleanly at the base in mere seconds flat. Then effortlessly, the powerful arm lifts the entire heavy timber like it's nothing and skillfully maneuvers it to stack neatly with others. This impressive machine boasts around 280 horsepower, specifically engineered for rapid, large-scale harvesting. From that kind of precise, targeted cutting to sheer brute force clearing, let's see how these crews handle vast areas of dense, unwanted undergrowth. A completely different, less subtle technique is employed when the primary goal is simply to clear the ground quickly. All right, check out this fascinating, if brutal, technique. We've got a serious heavy-duty bulldozer here, maybe a Cat D8 or equivalent powerhouse, wrapped in essential protective caging. Absolutely vital for this kind of rough, unpredictable work. But look what it's dragging behind it. A massive, incredibly heavy-duty anchor chain, the links probably weighing hundreds of pounds each. This method is called chaining, and it's pure, unadulterated, brute force land clearing. The dozer just powers forward relentlessly, its engine roaring, dragging that colossal chain taut across the ground like a giant scythe. Anything in its wide path, thick brush, small trees, stubborn vines, gets absolutely flattened, uprooted, and torn up by the immense weight and force. You can see the raw power as it carves a wide, clear path through what was impassable wilderness just moments before. It's definitely not subtle, but man, is it effective for clearing large tracts of land quickly. That chain just obliterates everything in its way. Talk about reshaping the landscape with sheer force. Once the valuable logs are successfully harvested and transported out of the forest, they typically need further processing. First stop, getting that protective, often dirty bark off. The journey from raw log to usable lumber really begins here at the mill. Welcome to the noisy heart of the timber mill assembly line. This big stationary machine is a log debarker, and its singular job is simple but crucial. Strip that bark off and do it fast. Logs are fed in, likely using those powered in-feed rollers we see, and then powerful, aggressive toothed wheels or specialized cutting heads get right to work. They firmly grip the log, spinning it rapidly while the cutting elements engage. literally peeling that rough bark right off like you're peeling a giant woody potato. Look how quickly it transforms that coarse, forest-marked log into smooth, clean timber, ready for the next stage, whether that's sawing into boards or chipping for pulp. But sometimes even the toughest, most powerful trucks need a little assistance getting that heavy timber out of the woods in the first place. The terrain challenge often proves too much even for purpose-built vehicles, requiring backup. Oh, déjà vu all over again. Another massive logging truck, piled dangerously high with colossal, heavy logs, has met its match in the sucking mud. This particular track looks even worse than the last one we saw. Deeply rutted, incredibly slick, and possibly even on a slight incline, adding gravity to the problem. Those wheels are spinning completely helplessly, just churning mud. But look who's here to save the day once more. A powerful bulldozer could be another reliable komatsu, or maybe a big cat positioned strategically and ready for extraction duty. They've got the heavy gauge steel winch cables securely hooked up, and you can almost feel the incredible tension on it. Both engines are roaring in protest, the dozer digging hard for traction with its wide tracks. The truck driver probably trying to assist by rocking the truck or engaging the diff locks. It's another absolutely nail-biting recovery operation. Will the thick cable hold the immense strain? Can the dozer overcome the powerful suction of the mud? This is where raw horsepower and serious torque truly earn their keep, folks. What a battle. Finally, with a mighty sustained heave, the truck is thankfully pulled free from the mire. After the big valuable logs are gone, what happens to all the leftover branches, tops, and smaller, non-merchantable pieces? In modern forestry, nothing goes to waste if it can be helped. An efficient operation utilizes everything. Feast your eyes on this incredible beast, a truck-mounted mobile wood chipper. This self-contained unit is essentially a high-volume processing plant on wheels. It's got its own integrated crane equipped with a grapple loader, which the operator uses with surprising finesse, snatching up large bundles of leftover logs and branches, the slash from the main harvest. Then it carefully feeds them right into the chipper's hungry, waiting mouth, the infeed hopper. Aggressive, powered infeed rollers grab the wood immediately and drag it relentlessly towards the furiously spinning, heavy-duty grinding drum or disc inside, likely packing hundreds of horsepower for maximum bite. Let's head back deep into the woods and see some classic, old-school techniques meet raw, unadulterated power. Sometimes the tried-and-true methods, combined with brute force, are still the most effective way to tackle a stubborn obstacle. Now here's a real throwback for you machinery lovers. Check out this fantastic vintage bulldozer. Maybe an old Alice Chalmers HD21, a true classic beast known for its legendary toughness and pulling power, going head-to-head in a primal battle with a seriously big, deeply rooted, stubborn, deciduous tree. There are no fancy attachments or sophisticated techniques here, folks. This is just pure, unadulterated mechanical pushing power against nature's anchor. The operator sitting exposed in that basic roll cage, safety standards were different back then, is using that heavy, solid steel blade to relentlessly dig around the base, shoving hard, backing up, repositioning, hitting it again from another angle. Listen to that old diesel engine roar and strain, and hear those thick roots snap like celery stalks. It's a slow, determined assault, a war of attrition. You can practically feel the ground shake with each impact. Which one's gonna give first? The machine's relentless, applied force, or the tree's centuries-old grip on the earth? The tension builds. And finally, there it goes, a huge, violent upheaval of earth and tangled roots as the tree finally surrenders with a groan. Wow, they just don't make them quite like that anymore. From that rugged old-school power, let's jump forward to see modern marvels of engineering designed specifically for navigating these incredibly swampy, challenging conditions. Technology has certainly come a long way in conquering difficult terrain. Okay, if you absolutely need to extract timber out of a place that honestly looks more like a shallow lake or a bog than a solid forest floor, you need one of these incredible machines. A specialized forwarder, perhaps like this modified Belarus unit, or similar models from manufacturers like Ponce or John Deere. This isn't just a farm tractor. It's a purpose-built logging machine designed for extreme terrain. Look at those massive, high-flotation tires, likely running at low pressure to spread the machine's considerable weight. But where do the dedicated crews operating these incredible, expensive machines actually stay when they're working deep in these remote forests, miles from civilization? Life out here requires incredible resilience and basic living conditions. Deep in the heart of the logging operation, often many miles from the nearest paved road or town, you find the operational hub, base camp. And yeah, as you can see, it's typically pretty basic, focusing on function over comfort. We're talking a makeshift shelter likely constructed from rough-hewn logs harvested nearby, draped with heavy green tarps for weather protection, just enough to provide some essential cover from the relentless elements. You can spot a simple cooking area, maybe a fire pit or a propane stove. These crews have to be totally self-sufficient for extended periods out here. And the challenging terrain certainly doesn't get any easier once you leave the flat, muddy areas. Check out this next precarious situation. Here, gravity itself becomes another formidable opponent to overcome with sheer power and control. Hold on to your hats, folks, this looks sketchy. This powerful yellow Caterpillar D6R bulldozer, a real workhorse known for its excellent balance and formidable pushing capability, packing probably around 200 horsepower, is tackling an insanely steep, muddy, and unstable-looking jungle slope. Its critical mission, clear that massive fallen tree that's completely blocking the only path forward. Look at that dizzying incline. The ground is slick with mud, clearly unstable. One wrong move, one slip of the tracks, and this multi-ton machine could go tumbling disastrously down the embankment. Listen to the engine scream under maximum load as the skilled operator expertly uses the angled blade to bite into the hillside and push that enormous log, fighting gravity and the jungle's resistance every inch of the way. Back in a relatively flatter clearing, it's time for more efficient site cleanup, pairing the agility of one machine with the raw shredding power of another. Smart coordination between different types of equipment is key to maximizing productivity and minimizing waste. Okay, watch this highly effective dynamic duo in action. We've got a nimble, quick Tiger Cat grapple loader. These machines are renowned in the industry for being fast, agile, and precise, expertly scooping up large bundles of leftover branches. Getting these massive loads of logs out of the remote cutting areas often involves navigating some seriously sketchy, temporary obstacles like this. Resourcefulness and ingenuity are required when permanent infrastructure like roads and bridges is limited or non-existent. Whoa, talk about a nerve-wracking crossing. This fully loaded logging truck, probably weighing well over 40 tons, maybe even 50 tons with that massive cargo of fresh timber, is attempting to slowly and carefully cross a makeshift bridge built entirely out of, well, other large logs laid side by side. You can almost hear that primitive structure groaning and creaking ominously under the immense, concentrated weight. Look closely. There's a big yellow-wheeled skidder, possibly a powerful Cat 545, standing by strategically just in case, providing a bit of moral support, or maybe ready for a quick rescue attempt if things go wrong. Further up the track, you can even spot a bulldozer working on improving the muddy approach. This whole scene just screams potential danger. One shift of the load, one rotten or poorly placed log in the bridge, and that entire truck, load and all, is going down into the ravine. Talk about trusting your equipment the bridge builder's skills, and having nerves of steel, you definitely wouldn't catch me driving over that thing. Now let's transition from dry land struggles to see a machine truly purpose-built for the swampiest conditions imaginable. When the ground itself becomes the primary enemy, you need highly specialized gear designed to float and paddle. If you thought the previous mud we saw was bad, check this absolute quagmire out. This specialized logging forwarder, maybe a robust Ponce or John Deere model specifically engineered for wetland operations, is practically swimming through this bog. Look closely at the incredible setup. Massive, wide, high flotation tires running at very low pressure, and maybe even auxiliary tracks fitted over the rear bogie wheels like on this particular unit, providing the ultimate combination of flotation and traction in conditions that are clearly more water and muck than solid earth. The critical articulated steering allows it to snake through the impossible terrain where a rigid frame would instantly fail. And despite being half submerged in muddy water, it's still efficiently loading heavy logs with that long-reach hydraulic crane. This machine is designed from the ground up with one goal: to operate effectively in swamps, bogs, and marshes that would be completely impassable for almost any other type of wheeled or even standard track vehicle. It's an incredible feat of specialized engineering, allowing valuable timber harvesting in the absolute toughest, wettest environments imaginable. Truly amazing off-road capability on display. Eventually, after all the hard work of felling, processing, and extraction, that valuable timber has to hit the road. Even if the road is just a rough, temporary dirt track carved out of the wilderness. The crucial journey towards the processing plant or market begins. All right, the logs are finally out of the deepest mud and swamps, and now it's time for the next stage: transport. Check out this bright yellow Renault logging truck, likely a heavy-duty Kirax model, a series known globally for being absolute beasts in tough, demanding off-road conditions like these. It's carefully hauling a massive, carefully stacked load of freshly harvested timber down this rough-cut, uneven dirt track, kicking up clouds of dust under the hot sun. You can clearly see it's purpose-built for exactly this job. Note the heavily reinforced chassis, multiple driven axles for maximum traction, and rugged, long-travel suspension designed to handle punishing terrain and heavy loads. Back at a preliminary processing point, perhaps closer to the main roads, these raw logs get their first major industrial makeover. The transformation process from tree trunk to usable material continues with specialized machinery. Now let's take a closer look at some essential initial log processing. We've got workers likely using cant hooks or maybe a small loader, feeding rough logs one by one into this stationary red-painted machine. Judging by its components, it looks like a multi-purpose processing unit, definitely performing debarking and perhaps even doing some basic cutting, splitting, or bucking to length depending on the specific setup. You see the log getting firmly gripped and pulled in by powered chains or spiked rollers, forcing it relentlessly forward. Then, a rapidly rotating drum armed with cutters or possibly flail chains violently strips away the bark and any rough outer layers, spitting out wood chips and debris continuously. And finally, simply maneuvering these giant, heavy, and awkwardly shaped logs around the loading area or mill yard requires serious, precise hydraulic muscle. Handling heavy, bulky materials safely and efficiently is an art form in itself, demanding skill and the right equipment. Get a final load of the sheer size and weight of these individual logs, and look what's handling them with relative ease. A big, powerful Kobelco tracked excavator, maybe an SK350 model or even larger, fitted with a specialized hydraulic shearer, more likely in this case, a heavy-duty log grapple attachment specifically designed for handling timber. That skilled operator is using the machine's powerful hydraulic arm and the attachment's formidable steel jaws with incredible precision and finesse, firmly gripping, lifting, rotating, and carefully nudging these colossal logs around the muddy clearing. The ground is soft and uneven. The logs weigh many tons each. This requires immense lifting power, exceptional stability from the wide-tracked undercarriage, and serious operator skill to avoid damage or accidents. It's almost like watching a giant playing a careful game of pickup sticks, delicately positioning these massive timbers for loading onto trucks, stacking for storage, or feeding into the next processing machine. Just an awesome final display of raw hydraulic power combined with fine operator control in a very challenging environment. And that's a wrap on today's incredible showcase of heavy machinery mastery. From the heart of the jungle to the processing yard, the power, precision, and sheer grit involved are just astounding. Hope you enjoyed the ride. Huge thanks for tuning in to Techbeast TV. If you love seeing mega machines pushed to their limits, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss our next adventure. We couldn't do it without you. See you next time.